Now in this video we are going to go in and basically test the update and change password, and as well check the sending email. So first of all we need to grab the email from here, which is this one here. Again, notice that you can have different kind of plans here if you want to do larger testing at scale, but in scenarios like you're doing some small projects or something like that, it wouldn't really make much of sense. So if we go in here now, we can basically just go in and pull in this email here. Then up here in the registration controller we need to say use app main, verify main, and then we need to say use app main. Alright, great. So what we want to do now is we want to go in here and we want to go in and say mail to, and then we want to put in the email here, and then we want to say send new verify email, and then here we want to pull in the user variable that we declared up here. So basically we're pulling in every single information that's necessary, and what we can do now is you can decide if you want to go in and test this in a conditional statement. I don't think it's necessary because you wouldn't really have any logical reason to point out that there's an error there. So what we just need to make sure is that we are grabbing it from the constructor here, and that we have set this protected user variable here, and then we should be able to send email. So now if we go up in the register here, I will just go in and test this with something, and then let's go in and see if we can create a user. And obviously you should also have PHP artisan serve running here, which I do. Oh, sorry, yeah, it's because we need to go up in the register controller here, and then inside the register controller we need to change this one here to support facades email. Should be that one here. Okay, so now we need to go in and choose a new email and username here because it's already created the user. You could argue you would want to check that before, but in this scenario it just gave an error, so when this is tested through we wouldn't have to worry about that. Okay, sorry, it's because we used the wrong path here. So we can just go in the user controller here, and then it's basically under here. It's because we need to go under Illuminati, of course. So if you go in here now, we can go in, and now it should work perfectly fine. So if we now go in and send it, it should ideally just send the email, and then what should happen is we should be able to see that now. Okay, so we got the token, we got the verified email here, we got the name, and we forgot to close the strong tag in here. So if we now go in here, we should of course close the strong tag. Now we don't really have to test this because this is very beginner HTML typo. So if we go in now, we can just click here and see what link it actually gets us to. So we can go in and inspect this and see if it's actually working with the link here, if there's an error. It works, it's just blocked by this client here. Well, again, this would be under actual URLs. This is not really anything. And I think, no, this is actually blocked by the app logger. Anyways, the point is this is working now, and we have this URL here. So now we know we can go in and basically change something here. So now we would like to copy and paste this token and test out the update and the change password function. Alright, so we want to change a little bit in the code, because we have two ways to update the user details. One of them is to basically go in here, update function, and paste this instead, and then we can go in and grab it, or we can grab it from the ID here. In our scenario, we would actually like to try to grab it from here. If you want to grab it from the ID, what you could do is by either passing the ID element here, which then would allow you to basically go in and update a user with any kind of detail, or you can do it like this. So in our example, we're going to do it like this. Sorry for making this small mistake here. So if we go in and update it, change password to, we can go in and do that there. Okay, great. So what we can do now is as well, we can go in and basically pass in, like if you would pass a new user here. So we would just pass in user. And then what we basically do is we're basically doing as normal. We are updating the user model here. And then if we go in here, and in this scenario, we can go in under login here, and then we can go in and say, so this is one of the older users I have. Go in and click here. And of course, we need to change this to the right route. If we then go in and click update here, what should happen now is we get this token here. What we would like to do now is we want to go in and basically say API, and then we want to say update user, and then we want to go inside here, and we first of all want to pass this through here, and then we'll probably get an error with all of the fields are required. Or the token has expired because we're using an old token in here. Okay, so what we need to do here is first of all go in and enter every single field that is required. You could argue that you would say, why do I have to enter every single field? That's because on the front end we're gonna insert the old details, and then that means it isn't gonna be that complicated for the user, but when we test it, we will have to enter all of the fields. And we can just change something to a new email here, and then we can go in and basically say country. We can put that into DK. We could put in, let's say in this case, username is gonna be like this. If we now go in and post this, what we should see now is returning of the new data here. Okay, so the email address has already been taken, so let's go in and enter another email here. Then in this case, we are basically updating the details here, and we're getting the new one. So now what we want to do is we want to basically go in and do pretty much the same thing, except we want to remove this. Then we want to go in and take a look at the password fields required here. Okay, so we just have the password field required, and then we check the check password on the front end. So if you now go in and say update password, then we go in and just create some field called password. And then we want to go in and basically say the same as the username in this case, which is not really secure, but then we want to also go in and pass through the old password. Great. So in case of the old password, we're just going to call this field old password. Then we're going to go inside this field here, pass in the old password, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we now go in and click update, what we should see now is it should update here, and then we should be able to log in with Matilde 10 and Matilde 10 as username. Just need to figure out why this error occurs. It's route issues. Okay, let's go inside the API here. Make sure we have created the route. Update password user. That's why. And then we need to remove the ID inside here. Because it's complaining about missing the ID filter. So if we now go in here, and now we can go in, basically go inside the login here, say login. It's gonna be login, and then it's gonna be equal to this one, and then password is gonna be equal to this one. And then if we now post this, we should ideally see a meter token. Yes, great. So this is all for updating the password and updating the profile details, as well as sending a verification email. So in the next video, we are gonna create a pretty basic function, which is gonna be probably our shortest video, where we're gonna just go in and say that the current user has now been authenticated. When you have clicked on the email link, verified, sorry. And that's what we're going to do in the next video, which is going to be a very basic and very simple function. So see you in the next video.